Hello beautiful people, my name is Milka and welcome to Mega Stitches. This is a channel all about cross stitch and all my stitching adventures. I hope you're doing fine and you're doing okay. Today I bring you a little tutorial of how to start in prep for your dimensions kit. It can be regular dimensions or it could be a dimensions gold. So let's do this. Today, as an example, we're going to be using from the Gold Collection Petites. This pattern is called Hot Chocolate and is a 6x6. Well, let's open it up. We have our floss and floss cards. Not all of them come in floss cards, but this one is one of the newer ones. Our pattern. They do provide a needle for you. And the fabric, of course. Always make sure to check all the instructions. They do come in different languages, which I appreciate. I believe it's English, Spanish, and maybe French. I'm not completely sure on that. The patterns are colored, very big, and easy to read. Now let's move to the fabric. I always like to find the middle of the fabric because these dimensions kits usually don't provide too much of a margin. If you're a center starter, meaning you're gonna start cross stitching in the center, then you should be fine. You shouldn't worry about this. But in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to grid it. And we need to find the center. We're gonna measure the fabric. So let's just do this, okay? You're gonna pinch it in the middle, and then you're gonna do it the same way with in the opposite side. Now that we've done that, I'm going to double check my measurements. So the design is a 6x6 inches. I'm going to grab a tape measure and measure my fabric to see how much fabric actually I got. Because sometimes it's 2 inches for a border all around. And sometimes they give us like 1.5 inches. Which is okay if you will be like stitching in hand. But when you are using like a Q-snap or maybe like a larger hoop is a little bit inconvenient, but we can make it work. We have a total of 3 inches all around the border, and this is just a little explanation. This is your whole fabric. So the square on the outside measures a total of 9 inches on each side. And then in the center, this will be like the area where your design will be. This is more for the visuals, but it is 6 inches. And then the border will be 1.5 or 1.5 inches all around. Now we've done with that. Let's grab these handy pins. You can find them anywhere. I like these ones because they have hearts and they just look cute. I'm gonna link them below. All the materials that I've used today, there will be linked below. Just letting you know. I might get a little commission from that. We're going to measure 1.5 inches wide and 1.5 inches high to find our starting point. If you're like me and it's hard to count, we're going to grid this fabric because, yeah, counting is hard. So this is my favorite of all time. Is a fine point marker and is water soluble. You can find them on the craft stores, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, I believe, also Michael's. But let's start here and let's do a line all across into the top. A little tip here so you don't lose what direction is your fabric. I like to make a little arrow facing to the top, so I know that's the way that I'm supposed to have the fabric because sometimes we lose our place and we flip the fabric upside down. But let's grab our needle and start counting. And we're gonna count on 10 by 10 squares. So 10 to the right, 10 to the top. And we're gonna start making lines. I'm gonna speed this up. I also like to add another arrow in the middle so I can find my place and I know what's the middle of my fabric or the middle of my pattern. And now if we're done with that, I'm gonna add my needle to the corner so I don't lose them and put it aside. Let's move on to the floss card. I like to grab something heavy. You can use books. I have library cards right here. And I'll just put it like on top of the floss card so I can have some tension. And I'm going to start braiding these together. That way the floss is not as messy. I do not want to forget that Dimension has an option to make your patterns digitally. If you show them proof that you actually bought their physical kit, you can email them with the pattern and the information and they can just send it out to you digitally. These are for the people that like to use their tablets or their computers or their phone, like just digitally in general. So I'm gonna link it below where you have to go and so on and so on. No worries, I'm gonna show you how to get your floss out of here. At the end where the floss scar meets the floss, they glue these together, so I don't really like pulling them. You can like separate one strand and pull it out of the card, but I like to separate the strand that I'm going to use and use some scissors and just snip it, just cut it. And then I'll show you right now. Give me just a moment. I'll cut this. I'll like put some pressure at the beginning of the braid and then I'll grab my strand. Oh, I lost my strand. Here it is. I'll put the pressure and then I'll just pull and it just comes out easily. Make sure your braid is not too tight. It's a little looser so your strand doesn't come like very curly. And we're done with that. We just need to basically put our floss in the needle. And we should be good to start. Something that I want to explain from the pattern. The pattern will tell you the colors, the symbols, the numbers of each color, the amount of strands that it brings and all that kind of good stuff. It also tells you if it's a full X or if it's a half stitch or if it's back stitch. It can also explain you like if you have any specialty, like if you have French knots or any specialty stitch. Always make sure that you are reading your instructions properly, because there's also some blends. You basically like mix up one color with another color, and that's called a blend. Another tip that I want to give y'all is to write your symbol. And for dimensions specifically, I like to use the same color of the symbol in the legend. And the reason why I say this is because dimension sometimes tends to have the same symbol in different colors. Like, for example, here are like the colors are blue, pink, black. So they might have a black star, but they can also have a pink star, for example. So make sure, when you're writing your symbols in the floss card, to use like, I don't know, like color pens or color markers, and add how many strands. That's a cool tip for me. It might help you out. And y'all, you should be ready to start your pattern. I usually start on the bottom left corner. So good luck. I did wanted to mention that there's not just one way of grading a fabric or doing all the things, but this particular water soluble pen works fine with fabrics that don't bleed and they're not hand dyed. Also without floss that is not hand dyed. DMC is usually very good and color fast. But if you're working with like black, for example, there is different items that you can use. A pen that I like is from the Clover brand. Let me show you right now. This one is the white marking pen from Clover in fine. Usually this does the trick. I wish that there's like a better option, but this is like the best option that I can see. Or you can use like Fisher thread like this. Or for example, these sulky spools. They are very, very shiny. They come in different colors and they can work well in either fabric, color fabric, black fabric, lighter fabric, etc. I don't really like this too much, but it is an option that people use. There's another brand, but here you can see how shiny they are and the thickness of it. This is the other brand that I found. It's called Hologram. This is another option, similar, it's very sparkly. Another option that I like are these FriXion pens. They're very cool. It's kind of like science, but you all gotta be careful with them. They're iron-on pens, so basically you will grid, and then to get rid of the marks, you have to iron your project. A lot of people don't like it because if you live in a very cold area, the lines can come up again, but they're great for like full coverage. They also work in paper, so you just use the other end to erase it and it will literally disappear. It's very, very fun. I really like these, even for writing on my planning or my planner. But anyways, thank you for watching. I'm very, very happy to make these videos for you. Happy stitching. I hope you work well and everything goes well on your Dimensions Kit project. Love you all. Besitos.